Opening hook. Let us begin with a simple but powerful comparison. Imagine that two students make exactly the same mistake during an exam. The first student immediately thinks, "I am so stupid." The second student thinks, "That question was difficult. I will learn from it and do better next time." Now both students made the same mistake. The situation is the same, the grade may even be the same, but their inner response is very different. So, which student is more likely to recover faster, stay motivated, and keep improving? Usually, it is the second student. Not because they are smarter, but because they speak to themselves in a more helpful way. This is an important idea for this module. Very often, what affects us most is not only what happens on the outside, but also what we say to ourselves on the inside. Our inner voice can either make a difficult moment feel even heavier, or it can help us learn, reset, and move forward. In this module, we will explore how self-compassion, gratitude, and kindness can strengthen that inner voice so it supports you instead of pulling you down. Learning objectives. Now that we have seen how two students can experience the same mistake in very different ways, let us look at what you will learn in this lesson. First, you will discover that everyone has an inner voice. Whether you notice it often or not, there is usually some kind of self-talk happening in your mind. It may comment on your performance, your appearance, your choices, or how you think other people see you. Second, you will learn that self-talk influences emotions, confidence, and behavior. In other words, the way you speak to yourself affects how you feel and what you do next. Helpful self-talk can increase courage and persistence. Harsh self-talk can increase stress, shame, and the urge to give up. Third, you will learn that this inner voice is not fixed. You are not stuck with one way of talking to yourself forever. With awareness and practice, you can begin to change your self-talk and make it more balanced, kind, and useful. These learning goals are important because they prepare us for the next idea. Understanding the inner voice not as a random thought stream, but as something we can notice and work with wisely. Explain. Let us now understand this inner voice more clearly. You can think of your inner voice as an internal coach. A good coach gives guidance, encouragement, and honest feedback. It helps you improve without making you feel worthless. For example, a healthy inner voice might say, "You were distracted today. Next time, prepare earlier." That kind of message is honest, but also constructive. However, sometimes this inner coach becomes overly critical. Instead of helping, it attacks. It may say things like, "You always fail," or "You are not good enough." This kind of self-talk often sounds powerful, but it usually does not help us grow. Instead, it can drain motivation and increase self-doubt. This is where mindfulness becomes very useful. Mindfulness helps us notice this voice before we automatically believe everything it says. That pause is important. When you notice a thought instead of immediately accepting it as truth, you create space. In that space, you can ask, "Is this thought helpful? Is it fair? Is there a kinder and more accurate way to respond?" This idea connects directly to the opening example. The second student was not pretending the mistake did not matter. They were simply responding in a wiser way. In the next slide, we will see more clearly how self-talk affects the chain of what happens after an event. Visual suggestions. This slide shows a very important sequence. It begins with an event. For example, maybe you receive a low grade, forget a line during a presentation, or feel left out by friends. That event is the starting point. Next comes self-talk. This is the meaning you give to the event through your inner voice. You might say, "I am terrible at this," or you might say, "That was hard, but I can improve." Then comes emotion. Your self-talk affects how you feel. If your thoughts are harsh, you may feel embarrassed, anxious, or hopeless. If your thoughts are supportive and realistic, you may still feel disappointed, but also calm enough to keep going. After emotion comes behavior. How you feel often influences what you do next. You may shut down, avoid trying again, or become defensive. Or you may ask for help, practice more, and stay engaged. Finally, this leads to a result. Your behavior affects outcomes. If you give up, the result may stay negative. If you keep learning, the result may improve over time. This sequence is very important because it shows that the event alone does not decide everything. The self-talk in the middle plays a major role. That is why learning to speak to yourself with self-compassion and kindness is not weak or unrealistic. It is a practical skill that changes emotional and behavioral outcomes. Now that you understand this chain, the next step is to apply it to your own life through a short reflection. Reflection activity. Now, let us make this personal. Please pause the video for a moment and think about a recent mistake. It could be something from school, sports, friendships, or even something small that stayed in your mind. Ask yourself, what was the very first thing I said to myself? Try to remember the exact words if you can. Was your inner voice harsh, blaming, and insulting, or was it honest but still supportive? Then ask yourself a second question. Would I say those same words to my best friend? This question is powerful because many students speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they care about. You might be patient with a friend, but cruel to yourself. This reflection is not meant to make you feel bad. It is meant to help you notice a pattern. Awareness comes first. Before you can change your inner voice, you have to hear it clearly. As you continue through this module, keep this reflection in mind. It will help you understand why self-compassion matters so much. In the final slide, we will bring today's core message into one simple takeaway. Key takeaway. The main lesson from this section is simple, but very important. The way you speak to yourself shapes the way you experience challenges. When your inner voice is harsh, every mistake can feel heavier, more personal, and harder to recover from. But when your inner voice is compassionate, honest, and encouraging, challenges become easier to face and learn from. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is fine. It means responding to yourself in a way that supports growth. Self-compassion helps you stay steady. Gratitude helps you notice what is still good. Kindness helps you build a healthier relationship with yourself and others. So, as we move forward in this module, remember this: your inner voice matters. The words you say to yourself can either weaken you or strengthen you. And with practice, you can train that voice to become a wiser, kinder guide.